Okay, that first half at Eden Park was a masterpiece. But did the All Blacks really have a shot of beating South Africa once or twice in the Republic? Well, in this video, I'm going to break down the upcoming matches between the world champion Springboks and the All Blacks, and I'm going to give you 3 strengths New Zealand can use to get a famous win over there. And I'm also going to break down 3 opportunities they have against South Africa. If you want to interpret that as Springbok weaknesses, well, be my guest. And at the end of the video, I'm going to make my prediction for the series. Guys, let's get to it. Okay, so firstly, we don't have a snowball's chance in hell of beating these guys if we don't at least get set piece parity. Notice that I didn't write the word domination here. I know I'm not sucking up to my boats in South Africa. I genuinely believe you guys are masters of the scrum and line out. However, I think we can be your equals. And I predict we might even edge the scrum battle. Yes, I believe this is the showdown of the 2 best scrums in world rugby, probably one of the most mouth-watering aspects of this game. And if the All Blacks can at least get parity with their scrums and at least win their own line-out ball, it's going to go a long way towards winning. This is just not a South African defense that I think they'll be able to unlock if they're getting pilfered constantly in the lineouts and if the scrum doesn't hold up. So this first line here at the very top is the minimum to even be competitive with the mighty South Africans. With that said, I want to move on to 2 of the noisiest buzzwords that you hear in rugby commentary: pictures and animation. What the hell does that mean? You know, sometimes I think there's too much jargon in world rugby. So let me just break it down in a really simple way. When we talk about pictures, right, and this is a word that the All Blacks coaches love to use, we're talking about literally what is the opposition seeing. When they line up to defend against the All Blacks, who's got the ball? Who's a threat with the ball? Are there hidden threats lurking? What are the All Blacks most likely to do? These are the pictures. Now, what you want to do is create some uncertainty in the minds of the defense. And by doing that, you use animation. In American football, they call it play action. Essentially, it's players who present a threat. They don't have the ball, but they're chiming in at different angles, and any one of them could become a ball carrier. When you have credible threats, now you're scanning around and you're not sure what the opposition is going to do. What does all this mean? It means that the All Blacks have taken a big step in the right direction with the return of Will Jordan to full fitness, because Will Jordan is one of the best, maybe even number 1 in world rugby at creating confounding pictures for the defense. He lines up in the backfield. He's a credible threat to receive the ball, to carry it, also to distribute it or kick it. He creates doubt in the mind of the opposition. Throw in Damian McKenzie and Beauden Barrett. Now you have 3 genuine playmakers. Now here is the most important thing. This only works if the All Blacks are getting go forward ball. What do we mean by that? They're literally going forward with the ball. Maybe Will Jordan hits it up, gets a nice clean out from Ethan Blackadder. Immediately, Tyrell Lomax is in, picks and goes, another 2 meters. Another nice clean out. Adi Savia comes in, 5 meters. Now you've got the defense scrambling. And when they're scrambling and moving backwards, you're not going to get the rush defense. This is New Zealand's Achilles heel. South Africa's beaten us with it. Ireland's beaten us with it. England almost beat us with it. You can't rush forward if you're on your back heels. So it's critical that New Zealand gets quick ruck ball. And don't forget, the ruck ball was at least half a second faster in that second test against Argentina in the pouring rain than it was the week before in Wellington. Quick ruck ball is essential to get go forward ball. And now we bring in Will Jordan and Caleb Clark, I suspect, to create some juicy pictures for the South Africans. I think Will Jordan has been our missing X factor. And it was interesting, I heard Victor Matfield speak, South African legend whose opinion I really respect, and he commented that he doesn't think New Zealand has the same X-factor athletes of old. And he's right, we don't have a Dan Carter. We don't have a Jonah Lomu running around. But I still think that Will Jordan and Beauden Barrett would walk into a world first 15. So I don't completely agree with Victor Matfield. I think that the All Blacks might have the edge in the backs, and I think the return of Will Jordan is going to be a very significant strike weapon for us. Thirdly, I don't actually think we're going to win this game with running rugby. I think we're going to win this game with smart kicks at the right time. We need to kick for the sideline, or we need to find land. We need to get that ball into the opposition 22, we need to play down the right end of the field. Which brings me to opportunities against the Boks. This might surprise you. The Springboks have the exact same weakness as us. Look, we always talk about the difference between them. Oh, New Zealand, they're more of a rapier, and South Africa, they're more of a bulldozer. They'll bludgeon you. These are outdated ideas. The All Blacks actually have a very impressive tight five when they're on song, and the Springboks are actually playing with a hell of a lot of width right now. But where they have a similar weakness is if you can pin them in their 22, they are mere mortals. And what happened in that second test in Durban, Ireland versus South Africa, where the Boks went down to a 80th minute drop goal, they were stuck in the wrong end of the field. Ireland was able to pin them down in their own territory. And yes, their kicking game was a bit better than the All Blacks against Argentina in Wellington, but still Faf de Klerk was doing contestable kicks when really he should have been sending it downtown. The Boks got caught in two minds with their kicking game, and as a result, they were stuck in their own red zone and forced to watch as Kieran Frawley kicked the winning drop goal as full time was blown. That's a blueprint for the All Blacks. If we're playing the game in our own 22 and doing dodgy exits like we did in that first game against Argentina, it is going to be a long day on the Highveld. However, if we can use the smart kicking game of Beauden Barrett, and yes, even Damian McKenzie, who was much better off the boot in Auckland, if we can pin the Boks down in their own half and really get some decent territory, the Boks are human, they do make mistakes, they are prone to break down penalties sometimes, put pressure on there, we might be racking up some points in threes. But if we're stuck down our end of the field, we ain't got no chance in hell. Now, it's funny, like people almost dread going to South Africa. And I get it. The Boks are the most intimidating team in world rugby. But I love playing South Africa at altitude because they're often high-scoring running rugby games played on a concrete hard pitch and a lot of errors given to the ball both off the hand and off the foot. So, this could turn into a running rugby clash, which brings me to my next point. Tony Brown, this is sacrilege. The new attacking coach for the Springboks, plucked from New Zealand, former All Black. Am I saying he's a weakness? Well, hear me out here. I think he's a great coach. I'm sad we lost him. I think the Springboks attack looks like it's found an extra gear. However, in the heat of battle, from minute 60 onwards, people tend to revert to what they know. If this becomes a wide-ranging game, do you really believe in your heart of hearts the All Blacks will lose that duel to South Africa? I don't. And maybe that's why I'm a one-eyed Kiwi. Feel free to roast me in the comments, especially my South African brothers. I respect your backline immensely. I think we're neck and neck with you. And I just think actually we might have the edge. So I believe that with the new attacking coach here and the Springboks still betting in their play, and let's be honest, they looked a little uncomfortable sometimes in that second test against Ireland, going laterally too soon and straying away from their DNA of making those meters up the middle of the field. If they get caught in no man's land, if they're a little bit uncomfortable, if there's even a second of hesitation, the All Blacks will strike. I really believe that. Could be famous last words, might not be in this test match, might be in the rematch at Cape Town. But I do believe if this becomes a running rugby game, if it goes wide open, particularly towards the end, I do back New Zealand to have the edge. That's how I feel. And lastly, the maul. Again, sacrilege. Am I saying South Africa doesn't have a good maul? No, of course I'm not saying that. You guys have generally had the best maul in world rugby. But it's not the weapon it used to be, and it's nothing to do with the aptitude of your players or their size. It's to do with the referee rulings. Now, you guys have probably noticed there have been a lot of changes in world rugby, right? Anytime you make even the tiniest contact with someone's head, it's a yellow card automatically, and it's probably going to be a red card. What else have we noticed? Well, halfbacks are kind of a protected species. You often hear the ref saying, don't touch 9 when the halfback goes into the ruck. In the good old days, you would have just cleaned that 9 out, sent him flying 10 meters back. But now they are a little bit more of a protected species, and I think it's a good thing because I actually think it's making the game more flowing and attacking. But something you've probably noticed on top of those changes is that the maul cannot stop for a nanosecond. If the maul's momentum breaks down, you hear the ref immediately piping up and saying, use it, 9. What's he saying there? He's saying, halfback, get that ball out of the maul and fling it immediately, or I'm going to call a penalty and the ball's going to the opposition. So the maul has actually become a little bit of a liability. It's magic if you're going forward, but if you get stuck, you're threatening to turn the ball over. New Zealand's maul defense has looked really good this year. So if we can stop the Boks, I think we're going to neutralize one of their biggest threats historically. And I think these rule changes actually work in our favor. Here's another crazy idea. What if we attack with our rolling maul? I know, right? Going to South Africa and using their greatest weapon against them? Pretty cheeky. Why not? Why not? Let's surprise them. Unless they're watching this video, of course, but I don't think the Springboks are subscribed to this channel. Let's hit them with the rolling maul in the 22 and see what happens. And I'm not saying that we're just going to monster over the try line and leave the South Africans in our wake. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that it might be a good way to tie up the big boys at the very least, and then get the ball out and create that back-on-back attack, where, as I said, I do think the New Zealanders have the edge. So I'd like to see a variety of tactics. I'd like to see quite a lot of smart territorial kicking, and hell, I would love to see the rolling maul used. All right, so what's my prediction for the weekend? My heart says the All Blacks can win both of these games. But I'm going to fall back on my head and my prediction earlier this year, which is that they're going to split the series. I picked the Boks to win this game. Ugh, God, I can't do it. Go the All Blacks. I think we can beat them at altitude. We've won 3 of the last 4 tests at Johannesburg. We're going to do it again. Time will tell. I will be weighing in this week when the All Blacks name their team, and then I will be breaking down the game on Saturday. So I can't wait to see you guys then. This is a good one. Love the Springboks. Love the All Blacks. Best rivalry in world rugby. Let me know your predictions for the game below. Catch you guys soon. Take it easy. Bye for now. I like my coffee like I like my rugby teams. All black.